Hi, and welcome to episode 8 of our C3 Crystals, Cauldrons, and Cocktails Sabbat Series. And it's our
Yes,
last one.
it is our last one.
Woo!
Yep.
This is our episode about Yule.
Yes, it's that time of
Merry
year.
Yule, Happy Yule,
Mm-hmm.
Happy Holidays.
Mm-hmm.
We are very excited. And we're very excited to be together because our last Sabbath we were not together.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the best Sabbath, in my opinion. I mean, this
Mm-hmm.
all the Sabbats are great, but I mean, Samhain, come on. Samhain's my
Yeah.
favorite.
Samhain is awesome.
So, let's get into it of
Okay.
our Sabbath series. And I feel like if you've been listening to our Sabbath series and you haven't listened to our normal series, you should go check that out. And then we
Oh, for
also have
sure.
an After Dark series on our Patreon and Subsprout. No. Buzzsprout subscription. Subsprouts. That's what I'm going to call our
Wow.
subscribers on Buzzsprout, our Subsprouts.
I like that. There are sub sprouts.
So,
Oh,
we have our After Dark as well. So if you guys really enjoyed this series, I would definitely check out our normal episodes on C3 Witchy Podcast and then go check out our Patreon.
for sure.
Patreon has we have some good episodes. We just did a doll magic if
Mm-hmm.
you want to hear that. It was really good. Probably one of
I,
our better ones
I think
in a
so. I
long
thought it was a
time.
good one. Yeah.
But enough for our own shout out and our own plug-in. Let's get into Yule because that's why you're here.
Okay.
So, what is Yule? Yule is also known as the Winter Solstice. It
Mm-hmm.
marks the longest night of the year and the rebirth of the sun.
Mm-hmm.
The ancient celebration is steeped in traditions that honor the cycles of nature, renewal, and the return of light. While many witches or practitioners and pagans observe Yule with familiar rituals, exploring unique ways to celebrate can maybe add a little extra layer of magic and personal meaning to this sacred season.
Absolutely. There are so many different ways that you can celebrate all of the Sabbats, but I would like to talk a little bit about the history of Yule.
Yes, yes.
So it has its roots in ancient pagan traditions, particularly those of the Norse and Germanic people. And I am Germanic in my ancestry, so I think that's pretty cool. It is celebrated around December 21st or the 22nd, depending on the year's astronomical calendar as to when that solstice actually hits. And historically, Yule was a time to honor the sun's return, connect with the cycles of nature, just like Ren said, and also to foster community through feasting, storytelling, and rituals. It has symbols like evergreen trees, holly, mistletoe, the Yule log. Those are all that we still have today, but they're remnants from those ancient practices that have found their way into our modern holiday traditions.
hmm
And for witches, Yule is an opportunity to reflect on the year that has passed, set intentions for the year ahead, and perform rituals that align with the themes of renewal and light.
hmm Yeah, especially with those Norse and Germanic roots, you have etymology in that. So like the word Yule is
Hmm.
derived from the Old Norse word Yol. I
Hmm.
would like to say it's J-O like L, but it's like
Hmm.
Yol.
That
I'm pretty
the
sure.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that O has that little
like
slashy thing over it.
accent over it.
Hmm.
Yes.
Hmm.
And this refers to the Midwinter Festival. And so this celebration was held in honor of the Norse gods, particularly Odin,
Hmm.
who was associated with wisdom, death, and the wild hunt. We've talked about the wild hunt before.
We have.
Again, this is a spectacle procession said to occur during the winter season. And so a little bit of symbolism on this is where it was a time to honor that sun's rebirth and feasting and drinking and, you know, everything that we talked about. Have talked about this before in our
We
normal
have.
episodes. And it's
Hmm.
just like it does symbolize that return of warmth and life.
Yeah, I mean we're it's the this this day, the Yule day, this
Hmm.
the solstice is the longest day of the year. So
Hmm.
after this day passes, the days get longer and longer so that the light is longer and longer. This is the darkest day of the year. And then from
Hmm.
here on out, things are going to be getting
Hmm.
longer and lighter
Yes.
every single day.
Yes. And there are some traditions in this culture. And
Hmm.
so some of them were like burning the Yule log and
Hmm.
sacrificing animals to
Hmm.
deities and
Hmm.
sharing communal feasts. Everything
Yeah,
that, well, I would say everything that I like, but you can incorporate the sacrificing of animals to deities. If you do that, then great. I don't do that, but I could think about sacrificing the animals as in a way that I love to cook. And
I
those
was just gonna
animals are
say, yeah,
are you could say sacrificed for the uh
the feast
holiday and
of
the
Yule, yeah.
yes.
Hmm.
So you don't technically have to do it word for word. Yule log. Just light a fire. It's okay.
You do you. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Sacrificing animals. Just eat food.
Eat eat the food.
Uh,
Yeah, the Celtic influences Celtics also the Celts also celebrated the winter solstice as part of
mhm.
their wheel of the year, connecting the solstice to the cycle of death and rebirth. And so for them, it was a time to honor the sun god and the oak king, which I think we've talked about this story before. I think
We
last year
have.
we did
Hmm.
a Yule
I
episode.
think we've hit on all of this stuff before.
Hmm.
We're just kind of putting it into a pretty little episode, the bow on top for you all. Get
Yeah.
it? Get it? It's our
The
gift from us to
To
you.
you,
Yeah.
the
Sorry.
Oak King represented the waxing year, overcoming the Holly King who ruled the waning year. And mistletoe, which was considered sacred by the Druids, played a significant role in Yule celebrations for the Celts. And it was believed to hold magical properties of protection, healing, and fertility.
Hmm. Yeah, and with these types of influences, you also see them in Roman and Christian cultures as well.
Hmm.
You have I had it in,
Saturnalia,
yes, I had it in my head. I was like, that's how I'm going to pronounce it. And again, I did not pronounce it right. While you were,
Saturnalia.
yeah, while you were talking, I was like, yep, that's how I'm going to pronounce it. Did I pronounce it that way? No.
No.
So Saturnalia is the Roman festival of Saturnalia. It's like celebrated in December. So it's a Roman
Hmm.
festival celebrated in December, and it overlaps with Yule's themes of feasting, gift giving, and celebrating the light during the darkest part of the year. And
Hmm.
so this probably mostly influences later Yule practices. This is
Hmm.
what influenced those.
Hmm.
And then we've talked about this, have the Christian adaptation to it. And
Yeah.
so as Christianity spread, many Yule traditions were absorbed into Christmas.
Hmm.
So the Yule log became a Christmas tradition, and evergreen decorations such as holly, ivy, and mistletoe carried over into Christian holiday customs as well.
Hmm. Yeah, it just kind of got absorbed into it
Yes.
to help the pagans transition into
Hmm.
Christianity.
Hmm.
And then modern days, today's time, we still observe Yule, by pagans and Wiccans and modern witches still observe Yule as a part of the wheel of the year. And it still remains as a celebration of rebirth, the rebirth of the sun, connecting to nature, the life cycles, life, death, renewal. Many modern practices, such as lighting candles or creating Yule altars and engaging in reflective rituals, echo the ancient traditions, and yet are also kind of contemporary. They go forward into the contemporary spiritual paths as well.
Hmm. Yeah. So now that we talked a little bit about the history, let's get into some ways to celebrate Yule.
Okay.
And I know we're always broken records, and some of this we've talked about, but we wanted to kind of talk about unique ways to celebrate
Mm-hmm.
Yule as well. And
Mm-hmm.
so, one of those ways is you can create a solstice light mandala. where
Mm-hmm.
you gather candles, crystals, and other natural elements like maybe pine cones, evergreen branches, dried orange slices, anything that resonates with you, to create a mandala on your altar or a safe surface. You're going to light the candles at sunset on Yule and meditate on the return of the sun, visualizing its light spreading warmth and positivity in your life.
Yeah, I like that one. You
Mm-hmm.
could also host a Yule craft night, which would be lovely. I think
Ooh, that would be
Ambria,
fun.
she does a ornament decorating party.
She's one of our patrons.
She is one of our patrons,
You
yes.
did not say that.
I'm sorry. Yes,
Uh-huh.
so she
One
does
of our
an
supporters.
ornament.
Woo!
Woo, yay! Thank you, Ambria. So yeah, she has a kind of a craft night where they
Hmm.
make ornaments every year. I think
So
that's a
much
lovely
fun.
idea.
Hmm.
But you can invite friends or fellow witches over for a night of crafting, and you can make things like ornaments or spell jars or herbal sachets. And you're going to want to use natural materials like cinnamon sticks, dried herbs, twine, and anything like that to create items infused with the intention for the coming year.
Hmm.
So to do ornaments, you might want to use them as make that a spell as you're making the ornaments. Like, get a glass ornament and fill it with herbs, glitter, small charms, and hang them on your tree or hang them outside or in your windows, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
Another thing you can do crafty wise is to make Yule bath salts, which I think this is a fun idea.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, combine Epsom salt with dried herbs like rosemary, and orange peel, and you can add essential oils like cedar wood or frankincense to create a luxurious bath blend. I think that would be a
That
great,
does sound really nice.
very fun night, party night to have. Have
Hmm.
all your friends with all the different things around you sit around the table in front of a fire and drink your mulled wine and
Mm,
create bath salts. How fun is that? And
that
then you can
sounds like
actually
fun.
use your
Use
bath,
it. Yeah,
yeah, use it on Yule and cleanse and recharge yourself.
I like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
Another one you could do is a Yule blessing bag. So
Ooh,
you can
that
have your
sounds fun.
friends fill like small bags with herbs, crystals, and affirmations for blessings like protection, abundance, and love. And
Mm-hmm.
this can be used as gifts to loved ones or whoever you want to keep
Mm-hmm.
their own to blah, 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 to keep for their own rituals, like
Mm-hmm.
their own Yule rituals. I don't know why I
Mm-hmm.
struggled with that sentence so bad,
I'm
but
struggling tonight too. I don't know what the deal is.
I like this idea because it's a I don't want to I mean, we're in a season where giving and, receiving is very tradition. And
Right.
so I really like this because this is meaningful. This is something that
Mm-hmm.
you put together. You pick out each individual piece that goes into it doesn't have to be a big bag, like a
Mm-hmm.
little sachet, and you just put your like little gems. You're like, "Oh, I know that this friend likes to do more spells in abundance. So I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
have a bunch of stuff that can be abundance for them. And I have this other
Mm-hmm.
friend who does a lot of curses, so you can provide all that stuff for
Mm-hmm.
them. And then they'll use it in their practice. And I like that idea. You are putting your intention in it and helping your
Your
friends and
friend.
all of
Yeah.
that. I really like this one a lot. It's just, it
Mm-hmm.
has that gift giving and it's personal and all
And
of
yet
that.
you're together sharing friendship while you're
Yes,
doing it. It's
yes.
a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. You can also create a Yule vision board. I know
Mm-hmm.
you're big on your vision boards.
I
And
am.
so you can gather magazines. Oh, don't be mad at me. I had some good magazines. I just threw them away. I should have
Oh,
given them to you.
you should have. Oh
I didn't even
no.
think about it until just now. You can gather magazines, paper, and craft supplies to kind of create a visual representation of your intentions for the coming year. You can
Mm-hmm.
use like images and words that symbolize light, growth, and renewal. Like whatever you are seeking for the new year, you can apply that to your vision board in any type of way that you want.
Yeah, I like that idea. I'm going to do a little shout out for my own little store on Etsy, my Bats
Oh,
and Baubles ink
okay.
store. I
Okay.
actually have vision board pages that I sell on my Etsy shop. So if you don't have time to gather your own, or you've thrown away all your magazines, Ren,
Oops, my bad.
you can go to my Etsy shop. And I'm not the only Etsy shop that has this. A lot of them do. And that they have pages with pictures and words and all kinds of stuff if you want to use that. And you can still do that and put all that. Actually, I did this last year for New Year's Eve and put them out on your table, and all your friends can sit around with your cocktails as my husband likes to watch football, so we have football on. I like football too, so I can't say that either. But usually, when you think of your witchy friends coming over, you're not listening or watching football. But that's what we did. Um, but we also made ourselves our vision boards for 2024, which
hmm
we didn't do them as a board. I know this is a little bit off topic. We actually did it as a monthly board
hmm
kind of, and I bound them
Yeah,
all for everybody. I've got a binder. And so we had half of the page was the pictures that you and words that you picked out of the different magazines that I had. And on the other half, it was blank so that you could actually take pictures throughout the year and show how you met your goals on
yeah,
your vision board. And so that was really fun.
yeah. I remember I have a book that you put together.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
filled out the intention page and never filled out the rest. It,
It's hard.
I
It
will
is
say it
hard.
was a long yet short year. Like, how did we get to this time of year this fast?
Hmm. I know.
I don't know how,
Well, for
but
me, once I fell down in September, I don't remember much of September, October, and November. I've lost like 3 months of my life because of
mhm,
my head injury.
yes. But I mean, even then, everything went by so fast. Like,
Hmm.
I've I don't know what happened, but I mean, maybe that could be a resolution is to try to be more in person and more in tune with your day-to-day life. Because I do have
Hmm.
that issue where I'm trying to survive the day. I gotta go to work. Okay, I'm done with work. Now I can enjoy myself. So it's kind of like it's repetitious. That's not a word. Repetitive,
Hmm.
repetitious. Wow, that sounds very sassy. It's very repetitious. I will say repetitious. So it is hard to kind of not have everything become a blur and then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, how are we in December?
Hmm.
So maybe that's
Well,
something that you could try to kind of in tune yourself. Like I'll probably try to be more present and aware of everything going on because I just kind of have tunnel vision and try to focus on surviving.
I think one thing that's going to help us with that is Ambria sent us moon phase clocks.
Hmm
And I'm going to put mine up where I can see it so I can look at it and go, oh, the full moon's coming up, or oh, it's this time of moon phase. Just because if it's hanging up where I can see it, I'll be more aware of it and in the moment
Yeah,
and
and
be
you're gonna be
able
like,
to,
okay, what is it tonight?
yeah,
Yeah.
consciously be able to celebrate those times of the month that I want to focus on.
Yeah.
So thank you, Ambria, for that too. That was very exciting. Um, Another thing that you all can do that's a little bit different is to do a Yule fire ritual. So if you have access to a fireplace or an outdoor fire pit, if you have the weather that's conducive to that, you can carve your intentions into a piece of wood or write on a bay leaf. We've talked about using bay
Yes.
leaves
Yes, we
before,
have.
but you could also carve into a piece of wood your
Hmm
intentions or your sigils, and then you
Yeah.
can burn that in the fire to release those old energies and invite in the light and new beginnings.
hmm
And you could also use a candle. So if you don't have access to a fireplace or a larger fire area, then you can use candles. Or didn't you talk about, I don't know if you ever bought one or not, talk about a candle, I mean, a tabletop fireplace thing?
I have a small one.
Yeah, I thought that was you that I had talked to about
Yeah,
that.
I've like it's a
And
little tiny beautiful like ceramic thing. It's
yeah, very
really
cool.
nice. It's an outdoor use only though.
And you can do this with friends, have a party where everybody writes down bad habits, fears, situations that they want to release, and then you all can burn them together and celebrate the moving on and burning away of past things that you want to get away with. Just make sure you do it in fireproof dishes
Yes.
or outside in your bonfire or someplace
Don't be
safe.
setting fires and making wildfires and stuff. Don't you do that.
Yeah, for sure.
I could just imagine. Lord, don't send us the messages like, "Oh yeah, I did this because you said," and then I caught
And we
fire to a
burned
whole
down our
forest.
house.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I don't
yeah.
want to hear those stories. We tell you to be
Yes.
safe.
Yes.
But one of my favorite things that you could do is prepare a feast for season with seasonal foods.
I feel like all Sabbats are feast worthy.
Of course, and this season is one of my favorite seasons to prepare food.
Mm-hmm.
So last night I actually made some soup, like a nice, really hearty soup, but it was delicious.
Mm.
So you
Yum.
can incorporate seasonal ingredients like root vegetables, cranberries, nuts, and spices into a festive meal. Share the meal with loved ones to dedicate it as an offering or dedicate it as an offering to your deities or ancestral spirits.
Okay.
And so I have a couple of feast ideas.
Mm-hmm.
If you're wanting more on the savory side, you could have roasted meats like
Yes.
ham, turkey, beef, venison, goose,
Oh yeah.
lamb. I
Yeah.
love lamb.
That's
I've
true.
talked
You
about
do
this a
love
lot.
lamb. Mm-hmm.
So s- physically roasting symbolizes abundance and gratitude, and these hearty proteins are classic for winter feasts. You can
Yes, for
also
sure.
do a root vegetable stew, which I am in love with this idea. I don't usually do just vegetable stews or vegetable soups because I right now live on a high protein diet and so I
Mm-hmm.
need all the protein. But this absolutely sounds delicious. It includes carrots, parsnips, potatoes, turnips if you like turnips. And now
Mm. I love turnips.
if you don't like any of these things, like if you're like, ew, turnips, you don't have to throw it in there.
Yeah.
Substitute
Do
it for
what you
whatever you want.
want.
You don't like turnips, add more potatoes. If you don't like
Mm-hmm.
potatoes, add more carrots, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can then cook these with herbs like rosemary, thyme, and again, if you don't like those, don't use them.
Mm-hmm.
And this can reflect Earth's offerings during the cold months. You can
I like
also
that.
do, and I love this, I loved a good stuffed squash or like pumpkin.
Mm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
you can fill with grains, like these squash or pumpkins, fill it with grains like rice, quinoa, anything like that. Nuts, dried fruits, and herbs. And then if you're a vegetarian, you can also make it a vegetarian dish. Like all of this stuff, like the vegetable stew, maybe not the roast meats, unless if you roast like a, you know, vegetarian friendly
Mm-hmm.
substitute. But I feel like a lot of the recipes that I give, you can easily substitute. I try to make and be as mindful because I am gluten free.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to be mindful for my gluten-free listeners because it is a
Mm-hmm.
hard life out there for a gluten-free, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's choice or not choice. Mine is not choice. I would love to eat
Mm-hmm.
everything fried, deep fried,
Mm-hmm.
bread, everything, but sadly I cannot. And then I also try to keep in mind, like, if you don't want meat, you don't have to use the meat. Like
Right.
you can easily substitute anything.
Mm-hmm.
I try to.
One of my favorite vegetable like squash fillings, or I guess it could be good for a pumpkin filling,
Hmm.
is the stuffed um, grape leaves.
Mm.
And it's like
Mm.
um, rice and raisins.
Mm.
And I mean, it is just so
Interesting.
lovely. It's very good.
I like cabbage rolls. Like I love stuffing things in
Mm,
cabbage, like meat and rice and cabbage. It's delicious.
that
I make it
sounds
often.
lovely. Mm.
It's they're some of my favorite meals. So, okay, let's continue without me daydreaming about food. So you can also do mashed potatoes or potatoes au gratin. Those are
Hmm.
very good staples and very warm
Hmm.
and hearty. You can create like um any type of warm, welcoming dish that
Hmm.
just provides warmth in hearth and home. Like that's really
Yeah.
the idea.
Hmm.
Now, I love a good pie, but it's not a
Hmm.
sweet pie, a savory pie. I love one of my favorite pies is chicken pot pie.
Oh, for sure.
I
Mm.
love chicken pot pie. But savory pies are so good. They're filled with these meats, and you can use mushrooms and winter greens. And I
Hmm.
mean, and I like the idea that pies are a symbol of unity and like family gathering because it's like a
Hmm.
mishmash of like all these things are so different, but they come together and they just work so well. So I
I like that.
love savory pies. It just, I mean, just because they're delicious and because of that. And
Hmm.
if you are of Irish descent, you may want to try the shepherd's pie. I
Oh
love shepherd's
yeah, I love
pie.
shepherd's
Everything
pie.
is so delicious. I'm a big whore for food. So,
Well, you can also do sweet stuff too, not just
ah,
savory
yes,
stuff, but
yes.
like gingerbread is a
Oh,
common
mm-hmm,
item at this time of year. It represents the warmth and magic of the season, and usually it's got cinnamon, ginger, cloves, that kind of thing in your
mm-hmm.
gingerbread.
Yum.
You can do a Yule log cake. If you don't want to make a Yule log, you can do a Yule log cake, which
Or
is a
cupcakes.
or cupcakes. But a Yule log cake is a rolled sponge cake that you
Mm-hmm,
decorate like a log, and
mm-hmm.
it symbolizes that traditional Yule log that's burned for luck and protection. It's just some people don't have a way to actually burn a real log.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
think the cake is a great way to do that if you
It's
can't.
delicious too.
And then spiced apple or pear tarts. My
Mm.
mouth is watering.
Yeah, mine was too when I was talking about
Um,
the savory stuff.
Made with the seasonal fruits and warm spices like the nutmeg that we all associate with this time of year, apple pies. But apples and pears are associated with abundance and love. So those are good things to make.
Hmm.
And then cranberry sauce or cranberry muffins or desserts of some kind, is a cranberry in your cake, cranberry
Hmm.
pies. Um, those can all be incorporated into your feast as well. And these bright color of the cranberry represents life and vitality.
Hmm.
And then, of course, sugar cookies. I love sugar cookies. You can cut them into stars or suns or trees or whatever it is that you want to celebrate your
Hmm.
Yule's season. And it's just cookies are joyful to me. I love cookies.
I like sweets, but I love savory stuff more.
Hmm. Hmm.
Savory, I'm a savory gal.
Hmm.
But you can also do a little bit more on like the sides and stuff, like a breads and sides type of vibe.
Mm.
So you can do like an herb stuffing or dressing,
Hmm.
so made with seasonal herbs like sage, thyme, mixed with bread and grains, and this would represent the grounding and nourishment.
Hmm.
Now, for a winter solstice bread, it's a braided or circular bread decorated. I don't
We are
me.
struggling tonight.
Decorated with seeds and dried fruits. And
Hmm.
the round shape kind of symbolizes the sun, if that's what you decide to do.
What is that bread that my husband likes that you all got him
Oh,
one
uh-huh.
year?
It's almost like a fruit
Almost like a
fruit
fruit cake,
cake.
but it's a
It's not.
bread.
Yeah,
Yeah. And it had
it's
all the spices.
delicious.
It is delicious.
I
He
love
loves
that
that.
stuff. Mm-hmm.
That would be a
Mm-hmm.
perfect winter solstice
Oh,
bread. It
absolutely.
starts with a P, maybe? Panettone?
I don't know.
Something like that. Panettone bread?
You
That's
are
not
gonna
quite
have to
right.
make me those cookies that you always make.
Yes, I
You're
do.
gonna
I
have
need to
to,
do
or
that.
give me the recipe and I'll make a
Hmm.
batch, but I like
Yeah.
the idea of you making it for me.
Yeah, I just got to figure out how to do it gluten free.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. It shouldn't be too bad. I can tell you.
You can walk me through it.
Yes. And then there's also cider bread. So
Cider
it's a
bread,
festive twist on classic bread recipes, incorporating seasonal beverages for extra flavor.
like apple cider, and
Yeah.
I guess
Isn't that, and like you could do wine, you
and
can do
beer.
beer. I can't do beer because it has gluten in it, but
Yeah.
I could do wine, I could do ciders and all of that. But I'm so interested and I want to look into more recipes on that because like that's fun, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like there has to be some like it's a little bit bubbly. In my husband's culture, they do when they make a sort of crepe, they
Mm-hmm.
add uh bubbly water, like carbonated water to their
Interesting.
crepes. It's
I
delicious.
have never heard of that, but it
And
would
me
make it
neither.
light and
Yes.
fluffy. Yeah.
Yes. So
And
I'm
then,
curious about that.
yeah, and then you can move on to the drinks that you can have for your feast.
Oh,
Mulled
yum.
wine or spiced cider. We've talked
Mm-hmm.
about this many times, but warm red wine, Ren makes a great mulled wine.
Mm-hmm.
Or apple cider that's spiced with cinnamon, cloves, oranges. This is a perfect way to toast the return of the light. Eggnog. Eggnog is very common at
I
this time
love
of year.
eggnog.
It's a rich, creamy drink. It's spiced with nutmeg and cinnamon, and it
Mm-hmm.
is very traditional
I
for the
love
season.
eggnog. Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, hot chocolate with peppermint. Yummy.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that you can have. You can add marshmallows to it or add a candy cane to be
Ah, yum.
festive.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. And then hot buttered rum. I think we've talked about this before too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can just keep it cooking on the stove, just like you do with the mulled
Mulled
wine.
wine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm,
Everything sounds so good. I'm going to talk a
I
little bit
know.
more about snacks.
Okay.
So you could also do roasted chestnuts. I think that's a great idea.
I have always wanted to do that.
It's
I've always wanted to
it's
roast my own
yeah,
chestnuts.
it's like a classic winter treat, I think, and it's often
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed around a fire, and it symbolizes comfort and warmth.
I
And
love
then
that.
you could do spiced nuts, which is, generally kind of the same
Mm-hmm.
idea with almonds, walnuts, or how do you say it? Pecan or pecan?
I say pecan.
I interchange them.
My
I'm gonna
husband
say
says pecan.
I'm gonna say pecan. So, or pecans, roasted with cinnamon and sugar, which can make a sweet
Mm.
and crunchy snack.
My
And
mother-in-law
then,
makes really good sugar encrusted
ooh.
pecans. So good.
Ooh, steal some and bring some to me. And then you can also do dried fruit platters. I like a good fried platter too. Fried
Me
chicken.
too. We're back to the savory again.
Yeah, absolutely. So dried fruit platters like dried oranges, apricots, figs, and this could symbolize the preservation of abundance through the winter.
Hmm.
And then, of course, last but not least, a little bit of yumminess. Cheese boards. I love a
Oh
good cheese
yeah, good
board.
charcuterie
So you could
board.
pair these cheeses with like cranberries, like during from the
Yeah.
season, walnuts and rustic breads. And it's
Hmm.
kind of a simple but luxurious addition to the feast with all the little meats and cheeses and yumminess.
I love that idea.
Mm.
So we have spent a lot of time talking about food.
Uh-huh. I love food. I'm a food. This is what I do. This is my craft, is my food. So what do you
It's like
expect?
I drink and I know things.
I
Ren's
drink and I
like
eat food.
I cook and I know things.
Oh, we went
Let's
we went two different ways. I said I drink and I eat food. Uh,
well, there's other non-food ways to celebrate Yule as well, and I like the idea of creating a Yule gratitude tree.
oh yeah.
And you could actually use your Christmas tree because a lot of us do put a Christmas tree up for our Yule tree. But you can decorate a tree or even a branch if you only have branches with ornaments that represent things that you're grateful for and or for your hopes in the future. So you could write your intentions on a slip of paper. You can put them in those clear glass ornaments if you want to,
Oh
or you can
yeah.
hang roll up the slips of paper and put a little ribbon on them and hang them that way
Mm-hmm.
on your tree. You can also do this outside and decorate with nature-friendly ornaments like pine cones with peanut butter and bird seed on them for our little feathered friends.
Mm-hmm.
You can make a cranberry garland that has orange slices. That's another outdoor tree type thing that's good for the animals. The animals can come and eat on that too. But things that you're grateful for, things that represent what you're grateful for, you can get really creative, I think, with that idea.
Oh yeah, definitely. I uh I lost my spot. Uh, you were at Gratitude Tree?
Yes.
So I'm talking about walk a Yule
Yeah.
spiral.
Yes.
I was trying to find, I had a note in my brain, but I forgot about it. So I was trying to see if me reading our past notes was gonna jog my
Jog it
memory.
back.
It
Hmm.
didn't. And then you stopped, and I
Okay.
was like, oh no.
I'm
So,
supposed to talk now.
yeah, you can do a walk a Yule spiral. So you can lay out a spiral using natural materials like stone, leaves, or candles. You walk to the center in silence, reflecting on what you wish to release, and then walk back out, focusing on what you wish to invite in your life. This can be a powerful way to connect with the cycles of death and rebirth. And if you have a yard, you can do this outside in your garden area. I'm going to take a second and say that we are recording this at a different time. We had to cut this episode a little short. So I'm just finishing it here so that we can kind of put it all together. So my audio might sound maybe a little bit different. And yeah, so I kind of just I picked it up so that I could finish that one Walk a Yule spiral spot. River's not here. And so I'm going to be finishing this episode. It's not so much more. I promise you're not going to have to listen to me talk alone for much. But I will just kind of get right back into it so we don't kind of ruin that flow. So you can craft a solar wheel charm as well. So using twigs or grapevines, you can create a kind of circular charm to represent the sun's rebirth. You can adorn it with sun-themed symbols like yellow ribbons, gold painted accents, whatever it may be. And then you're going to want to hang it on your home to attract prosperity and warmth. I really like this one. I like if you have like witch bells or anything, I would like to put specific colors on that and all of that. I don't know. If you don't want to create a whole wheel itself, you could use stuff that you already have. And then you could hold a storytelling circle, which this was River's idea, and I love this idea. So you can gather around a fire or candlelight and share tales that honor the season, whether they are personal experiences, myths, or folk tales. I mean, we love all of the above. And it's just kind of a way, because storytelling is a traditional way to pass down wisdom and strengthen community bonds. You could practice a candle magic ritual where you choose a white or gold candle to represent the sun and then carve symbols or intentions into the candle, or you can paint them on there, whatever you want, and anoint it with an oil like frankincense or cedar and light it at dawn on Yule to welcome the returning light. And then you can plan a day of silent reflection. You can dedicate the daylight hours of Yule to silence by journaling or meditative practicing. And this can then help attune to the subtle energies of the solstice and recharge your spirit for the year ahead. Oh, excuse me, my nose is just going. I'm trying my best. So make a sun tea ritual as well. Even in the colder months, you can harness the energies of the sun by making a tea using solar power. You're going to place herbs like chamomile, orange peel, and cinnamon sticks in a jar of water and let it steep in sunlight during the day. You're going to drink it during your Yule ritual to honor the returning light. And then you can also you also will want to know magical correspondences for Yule as well. So some colors that kind of correspond with Yule are gold, red, green, and white. But if you have any other color, like I like brown goes for anything for me. It's just like brown represents, tree bark and dirt, and we always have that. So I feel like brown could also be something, but if there's a color, if you're like purple represents Yule for me, then it represents it. If blue makes sense, or for the ice and maybe cold winter months, maybe blue represents Yule for you. And then herbs like holly, mistletoe, pine, and cinnamon also are. And then also bay also is one of those herbs. You also have crystals like garnet, ruby, clear quartz, and sunstone. Sunstone, obviously, right? And then some deities are like sun gods like Ra, Apollo, etc., like Mother Goddess, Frigga, however, Demeter. Some animals are deer, owls, and bears. And then other symbols are the Yule log, evergreen trees, candles, and wreaths. And we do say that we hope that your Yule is blessed with warmth and joy and magic. And we want to thank everybody for listening to our Sabbat series. We really enjoyed making it for you, even though there were some ups and downs this year. We really do kind of enjoy having this extra series out so that you aren't having to scroll through all of our old episodes trying to find anything and everything about the Sabbats that you want. They're all in one place. You just look up our Sabbat series and boom, bam. So thank you so much. You can go find all of our other information at our normal episodes, or you can go to www.c3witchypodcast.com. There you will find everything about our podcast that you need to know. That's all I'll say. Just keep it quick and short, and I hope everybody has a happy holidays.